This is a WKYT podcast.
Perfect.
Sounds like such a police officer.
Well, Andrea, that's a great start to the show there. I appreciate your contribution. How's it going?
It is going well. I am just sitting here waiting for Corey to cook for me, as I was in the last podcast.
Crazy. It's like the weekends all just run together.
It really is, isn't it?
So by the time this comes out, people will have heard us on Listicuffs. And, it was a close game. Came down to the final round. And unfortunately, I was going to say, I think you chose the last round, right? That ended up being Pixar movies.
Like a fool. And as soon as they said Pixar movies, I was like, well, that was my Waterloo. Victor will own me in this. But I also am glad that I asked what the other categories were after we were all done. And I was like, you would have beat me no matter what.
Well, that's the other thing, because so we got done, and the producer of the show, Richmond, he's a friend of mine, and so that had nothing to do with them picking the categories, and so afterwards he's like, "Well, you got the little girl." I mean, he's like, "I guess that probably helped you with Pixar," and I was like, "Oh no, that had nothing to do with it. She hasn't watched a single one. I just watched them all."
No, she's not old enough for Pixar movies yet.
So it started off with an astounding fact to me: the number of Oreos made each year.
Mm-hmm.
They
I knew it was going to be more than people anticipated.
Yeah, it was in billions.
That's what I thought. I assumed it was billions even before, and I probably shouldn't have asked the question because I was going to go billions either way. Well, I mean, I guess if you said it's in millions, I wouldn't have gone billions, but I assumed it was billions. And I said 12, and you said lower.
I didn't know. I mean, that seemed like a lot to me. I mean, there 7 billion people on the planet. I'm like, well, all right, that's 2 apiece. How many Oreos does a person eat in a year? But yeah, I underestimated the world's need for Oreos.
Way more than 2.
Way more than 2.
Well, I knew, like I said, I was like, well, they come in packages, so there's a lot in a package. Also, mini Oreos, there's a lot there.
Sorry.
So it's always more when it comes to stuff like that. I know it's always more than you think it's going to be, like some insane number. So I honestly wanted to say 30. I was either 38 or 34, and then I was like, you may be going hard. So if I had said 38, that would have been real close.
That would have been real close. And well, that's the other thing. Yeah, they offered a $100 bill if you could have got it right on the nose.
I know. I was like, wait, what?
Suddenly, there's real money. Sorry.
You got a prize for winning it all.
Oh yes, a WKYT poncho. I'm very excited about that. So yes, because you won that, you got to go first, and the first one was pretty difficult. It was the busiest airports in America.
Mm-hmm.
And it turns out,
and I'm mad because I said Dallas and they didn't give it to me. I'm sorry. I should have got that one.
No, it's Dallas-Fort Worth.
Dallas-Fort Worth, but it's like I just didn't know what the other one was. I feel like that should have. He knew I didn't know.
I think there's also a Dallas. Is there also a Dallas airport?
Obviously, I don't know. He's like, can you be more specific? And I was like, no, I cannot.
You won that category. Why are you?
I know, but still, I should have won. I should have won the Olympics. I thought about many of them. I said Spain like a fool.
Well, Canada was where I would have gone to also. I'd mentioned that to Mandy, and she also said LaGuardia.
I did guess Canada. I thought Canada would have at least been top 10.
Yeah. LaGuardia, for some reason, I was certain that was on there. And then I thought Seattle. I was like, oh, Seattle, Tacoma. I was like, because that's right on the, you'll have a lot of international traffic. So then we went from there to, I, like a fool, took the easy bait because I thought it was Lord of the Rings. Actually, I knew it wasn't be Lord of the Rings. That would be too easy. But I picked the one that was the 5 rings to rule them all, and that ended up being the Olympics question. And that's when it basically just became a geography. And I did feel bad that you said Russia, and I felt like you probably should have got Russia for that. But then you also took China, which is what I would have said.
USSR. I'm like, oh, come on.
But then you switched to China, and if they had given you Russia, I would have just said China after you. So it came out in the wash on that one.
Wash, and I said by Russia, I mean China. Because I was like, I'm not going to risk this and be an idiot. I was going to say Soviet Union, but I didn't know if they would be super specific, and say USSR or something.
Well, all right. I'll have to remember to bleep that one out.
No, just bleep it.
So that's what happens when you drink wine while you record a podcast.
I know.
All right. So from there, we went, of course, to Pixar movies. Because
and that
was Objects with Feelings. Yeah.
Over there.
Yeah. I, as a fan of movies and cartoons specifically, Pixar is kind of right in my wheelhouse. And I still trying to get Mandy to watch all the Toy Story movies with me. So far, we've only watched part 1. I'm really sad about it.
I've only seen the first one, and I could not believe that Toy Story, I thought that was an obvious one. I was like, oh, Toy Story had to have won an Oscar. But
sure,
no, there was no category for it with the first one.
Exactly.
And which Victor knew off the top of his head, and I was like, oh, well, I think it's pretty obvious who's going to win this one.
Well, no, because I knew that because Beauty and the Beast was also nominated for Best Picture, so they didn't start the Best Animated Movie until sometime after that because
That's true.
Yeah, and then I also would have said Frozen because I didn't realize that was Disney and not Pixar. So So
I wasn't as embarrassing as I thought.
No. As soon as you said Frozen, I was like, yep, all right, she got that one, and then it's like, oh no, not Pixar.
I didn't know that wasn't Pixar because it's not. I don't know.
I didn't either. My fandom's not as deep as I thought it was. So there we go. And then I won that sweet WKYT poncho. But if you really want it, I can bring it in to you if you'd like.
No, that made me feel much better when that was the prize. I was like, oh, good. If it had been like a gift card to somewhere, I would have been mad and been like, you have to split it with me.
Well, so that's what's funny.
That poncho's all yours, baby.
The KSR guys last week, I guess their winning prize was like a gift card to the KS Bar and Grill, so that was also kind of funny. So
they don't need that, clearly.
No. So it was.
That was funny.
I think it was all pride. All right. Well, you know what? That was fun. We branched out in a little bit of a crossover episode, and we'll have to figure out some other local podcasts to see if we can crash them too.
Well, I like the games, even though I'm not good at them. Like I typically lose, especially when I play to you, but I enjoy playing games a lot. I'm very competitive, which is surprising that I'm like so okay with losing. But I think because you're such a pro, I'm like, well,
Again, board game, being able to play strategy board games is not the same as being able to do trivia contests. Although, I don't know, James Holtzhauser on Jeopardy, he did kind of strategize.
But you're not
okay.
Stuff. You love all games. Don't act like you're just a board game guy. I said you love all games, not just board games. So
no,
I feel like
you're
selling yourself a little short.
Yeah, okay. You might be right. I may have been a bit of a ringer. You
are. I mean, I got real annoyed with that lady that said that you were going to win on Twitter. She's like, my money's on Victor Puente. I was like, forget you, lady.
Well, to be fair, that's my wife's cousin, so she was just.
I don't care. I told you I'm competitive, and I was like, who are you? Rude.
Who are you? You're nobody.
No, I didn't say that. I'm just like, well, that's not very nice.
Oh, that's funny. Well, no, I was expecting you to just come back with something brutal, but you were polite, so that was nice. Well, this was a fun breakdown of our appearance on somebody else's show, and hopefully people listening to this got to listen to the other one first, and it didn't spoil it. I'll be sure to put. I guess we should have said that off the top, but I'll put it in the description. So be sure to listen to the Listicuffs first. Although right now it's too late for me to say that.
I really want to do a rematch.
All right, I'll let them know if they ever want us back on for part 2.
I'll be happy to do a rematch.
We may have to have just Corey sit behind you though, so we can make sure he's not offering any undue support.
He could have texted me, and like the text would have come out. Like you wouldn't have seen him, but I would have seen him.
You're right. He could have. That would have been smooth. He probably should have done that.
That would have been a way better move. But of course,
instead of you looking off the side of the screen,
what's
yeah.
The answer?
What? What?
I couldn't hear you. Alexa, what did you say?
All right. Well, Andrea, this was fun, and hey, we'll knock out another podcast in a week or two.
Cool.
At some point, we'll be back in the studio, actually interacting face to face.
I don't know. Maybe
Who
not.
knows how long that? Oh, never again. Is that what you're saying? You're just like, no, I'm done.
You said you don't want to come back. You like working from home too much.
I get a lot of stuff done. No, I miss the people. I miss interacting with all of you all. But it's my favorite part is just I'm going to see my daughter and my wife a lot more. So that's been good.
Fair enough.
I'm sorry. All right. Well, bye, Andrea.